flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being live streamed by Chelmsford Telemedia and posted to the CPS website for interested community members to access and watch. In-person public participation will be taking place tonight in accordance with the Chelmsford School Committee public participation policy. Anyone speaking tonight during the public input portion of this meeting has notified the superintendent's office of the desire to speak and been provided with these guidelines. Upon request, written comments received no later than 12 p.m. on the day of the meeting will also be read, made a part of the record of the meeting during the second public comment session. So welcome to this meeting of the Chelmsford School Committee. Our first order of business is to approve our minutes from February 25th.
I make a motion to approve the regular school committee meeting minutes of February 25th, 2025.
I'll second.
It looks important.
All right, any corrections, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. All right, next up will be our student representatives.
Hi, everyone. So last week, the class of 2026 elections took place with our future president being Cody DeStacy, Vice President Ryan Gomez, Treasurer Sabah Zawada, Secretary Ava Sack. Congrats to those four. And this year, 12 people ran for office. And then we had 7 finalists at the MES DECA Career Development Conference with Pranav Aburi, Pranav Ajmer, and Arvind Rao qualifying for the International Career Development Conference. And there was also 3 hard-earned spots to the ICDC Leadership Academy, so congrats to all. And this week is our House Olympics, where our 3 houses, Hawthorne, Emerson, and Whittier, battle each other for the most school spirit. So Monday marked the start of the Spirit Week, and we have a hygiene drive, and this is all run by our Interact Club. And then we also have sports days every day and activities. So Monday is was badminton. Today we had trivia. Tomorrow's dodgeball. Thursday we'll be having minute to win it games during the school day, a robot race, and a battle of the paints, and then the senior versus staff hockey game. And Friday we will be having karaoke, basketball, and our dance, and that will mark the end of the hygiene drive.
Along with this, we also have a Spirit Week at the high school. Monday was Pajama Day. Today is Hawaiian Day. Tomorrow is Crazy Hair and/or Sock Day. Thursday is Cultural Day. And Friday is Color for your house day. Tomorrow's a half day. I'm very excited for that. Along with this, spring sports are starting up. Registrations are up, and they're going to be closing on the 13th. This being said, all winter sports are done, so congratulations to all coaches and teams for their successful seasons. And the Shamrock Shuffle Dance will be taking place this Friday, the 14th, for all grades at CHS. And congratulations to the CHS math team for taking first at the UMass Lowell Mathematics Challenge.
I want you to know it was Pajama Day at my school today, and I had to change out of my pajamas to come here, so.
That actually, Nick, maybe we could have a meeting, Pajama Day
Pajama Day
meeting.
meeting, yeah.
That would be fun.
I would do that.
All right, any other good news anyone would like to share?
I'll just add in just more of a public service announcement. The Parker Middle School will be putting on their play starting next week, which is The Wizard of Oz. They're doing 2 performances on Thursday, and Friday will be for grade 5 students. And then on Saturday, the matinee and the evening performance will be the 6th grade students performing. So always a great take. Get your tickets online. Happy to see you there.
Okay, anyone else? Good news? Surprised Patrick missed it, but just congratulations to Thomas Brown, a wrestling team who won his 3rd New England title to go with his 4th All-State title, to go with his 4th Divisional State title, his 4th Sectionals title, like one of the most successful wrestlers in Massachusetts history, never mind Chelmsford, so congratulations to Thomas.
And then number 4.
What's that? And then number 4,
4.
yeah, except for 1, yeah. All right, we don't have anybody for public comment?
No.
So we'll move on to new business.
Sounds good. First up this night is a spotlight. I see a lot of faces in the crowd. And Dr. Christy Whittlesey, I'd love to invite you up to hear a little bit about fine and performing arts. Christy is our department coordinator for fine and performing arts, so she handles K-12, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. It's apt to do this presentation in March because March is both National Youth Art Month and Music in Our Schools Month. So I will explain how we're celebrating these events in our schools as the presentation continues. I will make this as brief as possible, but here are the points that I'm going to touch on. First, I'll discuss some work that we've been doing aligning our curriculum to the new Massachusetts State Arts frameworks. I'll talk about how we're using our really exciting new renovated CHS art spaces, and I'll discuss recent achievements in the arts that students have experienced, and then we'll wrap up the presentation with our award-winning a cappella ensemble, SATB ensemble, the Thursdays. So, the Chelmsford Public Schools vision statement addresses how we strive to provide all students with multiple pathways to optimize their own potential for academic excellence, leadership, and social and emotional wellness, and that we work from a rigorous curriculum that's aligned with state standards so that our students can contribute to the Chelmsford community as self-directed, creative, and well-rounded learners who are ready to become the innovators of tomorrow. In 2019, the Mass Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE, introduced a brand-new arts framework to guide our work, anchored by the standards for artistic practice that you see on this slide, that describe the processes and skills students learn to achieve artistic literacy. The new frameworks present ambitious standards that highlight the importance of the arts as part of a well-rounded education that prepares students for college, careers, and civic participation. They emphasize the importance of creating original work in the performing arts and on presenting in visual and media arts, as well as responding to the work of other students and the work of artists in the field, with a focus on understanding the context in which artworks were created. Aligning our curricula to the new frameworks has been a focus since they were released, and I'm pleased to share now that all of our K-12 arts curricula are currently aligned with these domains. And this work has looked different at varying levels, as I'm sure you can imagine. For example, our elementary schools have already been assessing student progress toward meeting standards on our standards-based report cards. And so when the new frameworks were released, we updated these to reflect those and have continued collaborating to keep the curriculum updated. This year, the elementary art and music teachers have worked to create a grade-level glossary aligned to the standards. And you see here an example from the visual art glossary. And this work will continue through the rest of the year. In middle and high school, we've addressed our curriculum alignment in different ways to meet the shifting needs of programs to both support our middle school reorganization and also engage in our NEASC reaccreditation process at the high school. So here you see one example of how our art teachers in the arts foundations classes, such as Studio One, Appreciating the Arts, Introduction to Digital Photo, etc., are aligning assessments to the framework domains of creating, presenting, responding, and connecting. So this slide here starts with the responding domain that supports students in developing artistic literacy through analyzing and evaluating their own and others' works of art, including works of peers and artwork from varied historical periods and cultures. Students are assessed on this domain in their classes as they engage in analyzing the style of an artist, how that style manifests itself in a given artwork, identifying specific elements in a work that connected to a genre or style. And they also participate in peer critiques, which are structured evaluations of artwork where students analyze, interpret, and provide constructive feedback to help artists refine their skills, understand different perspectives, and improve their creative process. Critiques are often verbal or written and focus on elements like composition, technique, meaning, and emotional impact. This process of aligning the K-12 arts curricula to the new state arts frameworks have encouraged collaboration between K-12 arts educators and will ultimately support a logical progression of artistic skills and concept from elementary through high school and help students transition seamlessly through the K-12 arts programs. Next, on behalf of the arts teachers and students, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to everyone in this room and to the community for supporting renovations to our CHS art rooms. This space was originally designed as an open concept wing, and it was not an ideal learning environment for the art students. After this summer's renovation, we now have updated floors, lighting, sinks, storage, and student furniture so that they can actually see the artwork that they're creating. And we also have walls for each classroom, which not only reduces distractions inside the classrooms, but also provides us with increased space where we can exhibit student artwork in our new hallway. And you can see that on the left, top left picture there. In addition, we also have access to our kiln through one of the art rooms now, which is a new development, as we used to have to go in through the TV studio to access the kiln with full carts of ceramics. So this is really a fantastic update to the space. As a result of the renovation work, we have spaces that are more appropriate for 21st century studio and digital art classrooms. So for example, in the bottom left picture here, you see 2 students using pottery wheels in our clay sculpture classes, and now we have the infrastructure to support this. And while the art teachers could not be here in person tonight, they wanted me to relay how thrilled they and the students are with the art rooms, and also wanted me to relay an invitation in case any of you want to pop in and see how the spaces are being used now. So thank you for all your support. And now it's my favorite time to celebrate student success in the arts this year. As we honor student artwork for National Youth Art Month, we are hosting our annual K-12 student art exhibit at the Chelmsford Public Library that features hundreds of pieces of student work. And special thanks to the library for hosting that annual event. They're wonderful. They are really a cultural hub for our town. If you haven't already had the opportunity, I encourage you to visit through the month of March to view this fantastic collection. And we also have K-12 student artwork featured in the Massachusetts Art Educators Association virtual gallery to recognize students' work. And Dr. Hirsch has a handout that she'll share with you at the conclusion that has a QR code so you can see those pieces of art. So congratulations to all students who have work selected for these exhibits. We also,
That seems to be lagging, I don't know why.
it will catch up with me. We have 3 CHS students who have just had their work accepted into the UMass Lowell's 4th annual high school exhibition, and the students will be celebrated at a reception in Coburn Hall later this month. So congratulations to them. That artwork is fantastic. And in other visual art news, our Studio 3 students at the high school are once again participating in the Memory Project this year. The Memory Project is a nonprofit organization that invites our teachers and their students to create portraits for youth around the world who have faced substantial challenges such as neglect, abuse, loss of parents, violence, war, and extreme poverty. This year, students created portraits for children in Malawi, and the portraits are being sent to those youths in Malawi for them to keep. This fosters a beautiful connection between CHS students and children across the world. So congratulations to all students participating in this initiative. In performing arts news, our theater students have also been busy excelling. Each year, the musical is entered into the Tammy Musical Competition, and results are posted in the spring. So last spring, CHS actually won Best Overall Production in the state for Legally Blonde, as well as myriad other honors. And we will learn about how this year's fantastic production of Beauty and the Beast fares. And so fingers crossed there. The Theater Guild is also engaged in this year's Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild competition and won several awards at the preliminary round. They will be advancing to the semifinals. So break a leg to all of the students involved. Since 2013, we have received a Best Community for Music Education designation from the NAM Foundation. And within that supportive community, our music students are continuing to thrive. So for example, each March and April, we have many students participating in multi-district and state music festivals. This year, 8 of our grades 4 through 6 students have been selected to participate in the Massachusetts Music Educators Association All-State Treble Choir, and they will be performing later this month with students from around the state. In addition, at the high school level, 7 students have been selected to participate in the Mass Music Educators Association All-State Ensembles and will perform at Symphony Hall at the end of this month. I do want to note that Ryan Blaine, not pictured here, will also be representing Chelmsford at the National Association of Music Educators All-Eastern Festival in Connecticut in April, which brings together students from many states on the Eastern Seaboard. So congratulations to all of these students. And finally, we have a thriving a cappella program at CHS and in the middle schools. And our ensembles, the Thursdays and the Crescendos at CHS, placed first and second place at the International Championship of High School a cappella quarterfinals and will advance to the semifinal round at Mechanics Hall later this month. So bravo to all of these students for their hard work and dedication to their craft. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our award-winning SATB a cappella ensemble, the Thursdays, who are going to perform a piece for us.
Arc around you.
Here, why don't I move this?
Don't do the transition. Don't do the transition. Send me to outer space.
Outer situations coming to a head. Too much hanging on words we haven't seen. Someone's gotta say something, ease my heart to break it and say, you give me attention, give me praise. All this world that's send me into space. Show me a future, give me a taste, and you take it all away, and you take it away. Stop trying to say if you're leaving, sweet talk and say that you need me. Wind up and put me in all these situations. I fall in love with the drama, but my girl's not the problem. But you're so sucker for all these situations. Stop trying to stay. Hero complex, don't know who I should say. Ships they sail, but I'm traveling in the waves. Begging. Oh, but I love a little rain. You can't send me to space. So it's killing me inside, trying to make me feel alive. Should be over, but my heart's still racing. Will we let it die? Will we let it die?
Situations, stop trying to stay if you're leaving. Sweet talk and say that you need me. Wind up and put me in all these situations.
Stop trying to stay if you're leaving. Sweet talk and say that you need me. Wind up and put me in all these situations.
All right, thank you very much. That was great.
Thank you very much. I
Thanks, guys. That was really great.
Thank you.
have a few questions.
You should come every meeting, honestly, just every meeting.
Anyone have any questions for Christina?
Just outstanding work, I mean, really. All of us have seen the programs throughout the time we've been here, I think, and the programs just speak for themselves and the kids, so. My family's involved in it now and has been for a little bit, and I think all of us are just really lucky to have you guys in the district, so.
Well, thank you so much for saying that, and thank you for all the support. It is really important to have the community support, and also I just want to acknowledge the excellent work by all of the art and music and theater staff that we have, who go above and beyond to support their students' skills and also their personal development and give them every opportunity that they possibly can. So, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Question?
One question I get quite a bit from folks is, what are we doing at the elementary school level in the arts in terms of digital art? Is there, because when you move along into the high school, you've got quite a bit of a digital art presence now. But how about at both the other levels? How are we doing on that?
So that's a great question, because now we have in the new frameworks, we have media frameworks that are kind of embedded within our art, visual art frameworks. So because we don't have a separate class like we do at the high school, where we might have a graphic design course specifically for that digital piece, or a studio art course specifically to develop studio art skills, they're integrated into what we teach at every level. So it's obviously a different type of lesson that you might see at an elementary level, but because the students have access to Chromebooks, there are ways that we can integrate digital artwork into every level.
Okay, and we're doing that already.
We are doing it, yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know if this is new since the realignment of Parker and McCarthy, but I know right now 5th and 6th graders who take an instrument or who do voice classes don't have the opportunity to take visual arts as well. And I'm curious what that does in, let's say, 7th and 8th grade, when kids who've been doing visual arts for those 2 years in 5th and 6th are sort of now mixed with kids who have taken 2 years doing, music and, performance instead, and what that looks like at the 7th and 8th grade level.
Okay, sure. So just to clarify, in case people aren't aware, in terms of scheduling, and we're dealing with the schedules now in course selections as students in grade 4 are selecting their arts block for grade 5, and we try and make that as streamlined as possible. So I'm actually really glad that you brought it up, in case there are people watching who have students in grade 4. So currently the offerings in grade 5 for their arts block are that students can choose between a full year of band or chorus or orchestra, which are performance-based, or they can choose a half a year of general music and a half a year of visual art. So as you said, a student who chooses to be in band, for example, would not have that visual arts piece during the day. If I could wave my magic wand and change that schedule, I would love to do that. How we have accommodated that since I was hired in 2007 was that we offer an after-school art club for the performing music students in grades 5 and 6 that's taught by one of the art teachers at Parker. And that club is very highly attended.
Yeah.
It's our way to try and meet the needs of the students who do want to participate in visual and performing arts. As they move ahead to 7th and 8th grade, every student takes a quarter of visual art, regardless of whether they're in a performance ensemble. And we're fully aware that many of the students weren't enrolled in their visual art classes in grades 5 and 6. So we have talked about that a lot this year as we've engaged in the curriculum alignment work, so that we can make sure that all students entering grade 7 can be challenged by the art curriculum, but also make sure that we're reinforcing those foundational skills that they may not have received in grade 5 and 6.
So there's some differentiation built in for the students.
They do a fantastic job differentiating for all the levels of students, absolutely.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you again. Thank you for bringing
Thank you
in
for
the
having me.
Thursdays. It was great to have you here.
Open door, just the singing though. We just sing
Yeah, I
once a week.
Thank you,
We
Kristen.
should open a meeting with a song.
All right, you can sing the first one.
I'm gonna run that in reelection. A song per meeting.
Tell me when you're doing that.
All right, I will. Terrible.
All right.
Moving on.
Moving on to our second item on the agenda this evening is the annual vote that we take to participate in the school choice program. So school choice is a program that allows the district and the school committee to actually designate a certain number of spots and even at certain grade levels based on where you have room to be able to allow students from other districts to come and attend Chelmsford Public Schools like a student who resides in Chelmsford. So the district has always, again, this is my 10th year, so this predates me. We have always taken in somewhere between 40 and 50 students in school choice. The advantage to the district is a little bit of revenue offset that we get from having the students come in. So it's $5,000 per student that comes in through school choice. We use that funding to actually help offset the cost of our one-on-one computer initiative, so that's the direct offset for that. And it also obviously allows some students to come into the district and take advantage of our programs where, again, we have space. We traditionally have not had students come in elementary, just because our elementary numbers are large. And then even at the middle school, it's been really rare cases that we've had middle school spots. Where we've had the most space has been at the high school level. So traditionally, we'll take in students who want to begin their freshman year, their grade 9 year with us. And then once they're accepted into the program, they stay with us right through the 4 years. They don't have to reapply every year. So right now, we have 37 current students enrolled in school choice, 7 of which are seniors who are going to be graduating from the high school. So next year, that'll leave us a starting place of 30. And the recommendation, looking at the numbers, would be to ask an additional 10 students to come in and enroll as 9th grade students. So that would keep our number at 40 to start, which is a good number for us. Again, I'm always just kind of conscious of the overall numbers, not having too many students in a particular grade level that could throw off, course enrollments or things like that. But I think taking in 10 would obviously be consistent. We will traditionally see, like right now, next year, we would have a lower number of sophomores in 10th grade, 5, but we would have 13 and then 10 in 11 and 12. So if we bring in another 10, we'll keep a pretty steady number of students enrolled through school choice at the high school. The students do get to attend school at no cost. Again, I mentioned they're treated like a Chelmsford Public School student. The only catch is they do have to provide their own transportation to and from school. So because they're coming from another community, we obviously don't have busing for them. But I'm happy to answer any questions. The recommendation is written at the bottom of the memo if this is something the school committee supports. And the process would be, if you do support this, there's a form we use to notify the state that we're actually going to participate in this. We then have an application process that will post for about a month or so. We have an application we put on the website. People would fill out the application. They'd get us information from the school they're seeking to transfer from. If we ended up having 10 or less students, then all 10 or less students would be welcomed in. If we ended up getting 12 students, then we have to hold a lottery. So it's just a blind draw of 10 names out of a hat. Those 10 get to come in. The other 2 are on a waiting list. If someone decides not to come in, then we go to number 11 and number 12 and right down the line. But that would all take place between tomorrow and right around April school vacation is when we wrap up and have our lottery. And we then tell people if they're going to get in or not, because sometimes they may be looking at other alternatives as well. We want to be able to let them know they're either coming or they're not coming. So happy to answer any questions about school choice for you, but just based on the numbers, that would be my recommendation for next year.
I just have a kind of a general question. I'm comfortable with the numbers for sure, but who are the students who typically want to come to Chelmsford, and what do you hear about why? Like, are they from surrounding towns, or they tend to be faculty members, kids?
No, so I mean, we certainly do have faculty members, kids. They are some, not a significant number, maybe a handful of them might be faculty related. We actually have a clause in our contract that would allow faculty, even if they don't live in Chelmsford, to have their kids come even outside of this program and enroll here. The family would just have to pay half a tuition fee to do that. Now, if a family of a staff member didn't live in Chelmsford but applied through school choice, say for the high school slot, and they get in, then they wouldn't have to pay anything.
Okay.
So it could be a staff member, you just never know based on what. But typically, it's students from the immediate surrounding towns. Lowell, Billerica, Tingsboro, might get a Tewksbury. They might just be looking at the programs that we offer compared to what might be being offered in their particular schools. A lot, I do think generally, we have a very, again, competitive and well-known theater program, arts program. A lot of schools don't offer the same level that we do, so we certainly get some kids that come for that. And it's honestly, I think, enriching for our students too, to diversify just beyond the Chelmsford community, but to meet some friends and acquaintances from neighboring towns and cities.
I get that. I didn't say it, well, Dr. Whittlesey was here, but I was at the CFOM meeting the other night, and I did say that our music program in particular, what a gem, you know? So I could see why kids would want to come for something like that, sure.
Diana, you had a question?
Yeah, I have two. One is, what has been our typical, let's say last year, what was the interest as compared to how many spaces we had opened up? I'm just curious, like, how many kids we were turning away, if any, and that sort of thing.
I want to, off the top of my head, if we let in about 10 last year, I think we had maybe 16 or 17 applications. So there were a handful of students that did not get in.
Okay. And I'm curious, so I see that we have 1 6th and 1 7th, or rising 6th and rising 7th grader currently in the program. So I seem to recall at some points there have been kids let in at other age groups. I totally understand why we are not letting kids in K through 6, given the physical structures of the schools. I'm curious why we are not considering adding a few spots in, say, 7th.
Right now, 5th through 8th grade, like 5 and 6, we know next year's 4th grade is already a very large class coming up to 5th grade. So I really wouldn't, as you indicated, I really wouldn't want to add anything 5th or 6th grade. Parker is really at capacity.
Yeah.
We're even looking to try to find spaces within the school to just take care of the existing programming we have that's going to be shifting from, say, elementary up to middle school. It's very tight. McCarthy still has very strong numbers. You know, we actually haven't had anyone reach out to us with any interest in coming in for just 7th and 8th grade. From a pure kind of scheduling standpoint, we just have a lot more flexibility at 9 through 12 to be able to take in students because, again, it's not a teaming concept, it's an individual class concept, and they can just much easier get a schedule, and it's just less impactful overall to the numbers.
Any other questions?
Just one comment. I think from what I've seen at McCarthy, or at the 7th and 8th grade level, I also think it's hard to transition in at 7th and 8th grade. Very difficult to transition to another district. So that might add to.
You mean like socially?
Socially, emotionally, and also one of the thoughts had been to keep the class together. So I think it's nice if it, from 5th through 8th, that whole group does eventually stay together. Which I can't wait to see the first group at the
graduating
high
class,
school
yeah.
at the 9th grade level where this happened. I think that will be really good. I hope. But in any event, I totally agree with the numbers. I think that the elementary, there's no way we could possibly do it. And I think it's really chancing it to move anybody into the middle school because of what's happening at the elementary level. We don't know. And we also don't know how many more people will move into the town. So that always makes it difficult. I never hear negative comments about this program. I've never heard one while I've been on the school committee.
No, the students who participate from the outside,
Yeah.
they really enjoy it. The parents are very happy, and it's interesting because they get very engaged in the Chelmsford community as well. So their kids are participating in clubs and activities, and again, the play and things like this. And I'll even bump into some from, say, Lowell that I know from when I worked at Lowell, and they're absolutely loving their experience here. So, no, I also have not heard a negative word.
I've never have.
Yeah.
Right, any other questions? We'll take a motion.
Okay. I move to accept 10 additional students at Chelmsford High School in grade 9 under the Commonwealth of Massachusetts School Choice Program, bringing the total school choice participation in the Chelmsford Public Schools to 40 enrolled students during the 2025-26 school year.
Second.
Second, okay. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you very much.
All right. And the
Yes.
last thing is field trip, right?
So we have some approval of some trips and travel requests. Four before you this evening, they're all high school related. The first one is one that I had emailed you on because we got the request for the travel after our last meeting. But this actually took place last Saturday, and as Dennis alluded to at the start of the meeting, Thomas Brown was one of our seniors at the high school who qualified to wrestle in the New England tournament and ultimately was successful and was named champion. That took place in Providence this past week. I believe we typically meet the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and I think in the high school's frame of mind, they thought we were going to have a meeting prior to. So that was just an oversight, but that did happen. So this is basically just a retroactive acknowledgement that the trip did occur. Nothing happened on the trip except the championship, but everyone came back safe and sound. The second trip before you this evening is the high school, the Theater Guild, just going to Boston for an overnight competition, March 27th and 29th. The third one, you actually previously approved. This is the Chelmsford High School kids who are enrolled in Spanish, the cultural exchange program to Panama and Costa Rica. It was originally going to be April 17th, leaving after school, which is a Thursday, but the flights have changed, so they need to leave the 17th, but they need to leave before school. So they're going to actually miss school on the Thursday because their plane's going to leave in the morning as opposed to the afternoon. So you've already approved the trip, but the time of the travel has changed. And then last is our kids who qualify for the Decker International Conference. They actually have gotten a very good number of students who are going to be able to participate in this. And this is held April 25th to 30th in Orlando. And again, this is high school kids who qualified for the DECA Nationals. So those four trips before you for approval.
Since they're all high school, can we just lump them together?
Sure.
Yeah, we just do one motion for all four.
Oh, I move that we approve, do you want me to name each one of
Or
these?
just the four high school field
Oh,
trips
the
as-
four
as
high
presented?
school field trips and travel requests as presented.
Second.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great.
Actually, I do have one very quick question. It's not a contingency. I'm just curious. Is the reason we have to vote for the Boston one because it's overnight, even though that's not out of state?
Yeah, correct. So our policy is the school committee would approve any trip that is either overnight or out of state.
So far, it's all been out of state, so.
It's been
that
out
was
of
the first
state.
time I saw an in-state overnight.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just because it's overnight.
Okay, anything else on field trips? Okay, any liaison reports?
I have one. I was at the South Row PTO meeting on March 3rd. They are convening a committee to figure out what to do with this amazing windfall of the $20,000 that was won through that sweepstakes. Otherwise, lots of things happening as always. They had the second Global Play Day on February 5th, which many schools did, and it was very successful again, and they feel like this is now institutionalized. This is going to happen annually. They used the new emergency system for the first time in full during their February Alice drill and were really appreciative of the updates to the security system in the school. And things went very smoothly. They had a huge success at a science fair in February with like 100 kids involved. Chelmsford Library is featuring, as part of their featuring a lot of student art, which we've heard about. They're very excited to have several South Row students represented. And finally, coming April 5th, there's going to be a multicultural festival at South Row, where families will be showcasing things from their own culture, places that they have visited, places that may be related to their family's ancestry, or any sort of other connections people feel to different kinds of cultures and communities. So that'll be April 5th, and it's going to be a cool event. I am going to be at a table with my son. I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be dance, performances, food to sample, and lots of kids and their families excited to talk about different cultures from around the world. So that is it for me. I go to Parker and McCarthy's this week.
Anybody else?
Buy 'em tomorrow.
Susan, you said?
I do have a few. I missed CHIPS last night, but I hadn't reported about their previous meetings, so they continue to be very busy, and every month they bring in great enrichment things. So just for anyone who wants to know, they have a Spirit Wear Day coming up on April 8th. In January, they did a community service project where they bring in socks, and they collected 629 socks to donate to the Wish Project. Next week, they have Big Joe, the storyteller, coming in, and a few weeks after that, they have Mr. Rago, who runs a music program in town, coming to do something for the kids. So that's what's going on at CHIPS. Harrington, PTO, they had their multicultural night a few weeks ago in February. It was very well attended, really a nice variety of people coming in. I happened to attend, and that was great. There's a STEAM fair coming up on April 15th. They work with UMass Lowell in collaboration with that. UMass Lowell helps them kind of set it up and sponsor it and learn about projects, so that's really great. There's going to be a pasta dinner hosted by the fourth graders. That's going to be on Thursday, April 3rd. Our families will be hearing about two choices to attend, either 5:15 dinner or 6:15. It's going to be $20 per family. And today they had Newhouse Wildlife Rescue come in and do two shows just about what's involved with the rescue. And Nibby the Beaver was there and Stanley the Groundhog. And I couldn't resist, so I went and got to meet Nibby the Beaver and got my picture taken with Nibby today. So that was very exciting for me. And finally, I went to the Chelmsford Friends of Music meeting on March 6th. In addition to many of the things that Dr. Whittlesey just presented, I have a few more things that are CFOM direct. They did want to reiterate that their aim is really to join all Chelmsford music and theater groups kind of into a community and do a lot with students to really encourage student volunteerism and making them feel like they're all part of a group. One of the ways students volunteer is to help with the bottle and can drives. They had to stop doing them for a little while. They just had one this past Saturday, but there's going to be another bottle and can drive on the second Saturday of every month now through November. They going to have the middle school talent show. It's going to be on May 10th. They have a nice collaboration going on with the Chelmsford Center for the Arts. They're going to allow kids to participate in some karaoke nights so they can practice for their talent show, coming to the CCA for the karaoke nights. And they also, they do scholarships for kids pursuing music camps or college. And the scholarship applications should now be available on their website, which is cfom.org. So any students who want to apply for those scholarships, that should be up and available on their website.
That's super. All right, so CHSPTO met last night, and they sent a report because we had a meeting, negotiations meeting. After the after prom planning is moving forward and everything's on track. Pickleball hit a couple of snags, is that what it's called?
Next.
Thank you. But this is American saying, sorry. But the team is meeting tonight to regroup, and they're moving forward with May 3rd tournament. Super excited. It'll be great. They had a brunch, and they called it Thanks a Brunch event for teachers and staff. All 120 plus attended. And the reports are that everyone loved it. They started it at 7:19 when school opened, and they said folks filtered in through the lounge throughout the morning. Juice, donuts, muffins, bagels, croissants, yogurt, fruit. They especially want to thank Dr. Lang and the administration for the funding assistance, and they loved treating the staff. It was such a great event. Center School has its science fair tomorrow night. And just aside, science fairs were started by PTOs. And and I remember when it was started. And the person who is now one of the co-presidents of the PTO of the high school was big, big, big in starting it. So it's really amazing to see where it's taken off, especially at the elementary school level. And then the STEM fairs. And finally, the Council of Schools, which is my, one of the groups I go to, the Greer presentation. They did survey the staff at the middle school. They got 32 responses, and they were all extremely positive on the impact that that presentation had. So that's a great thing to hear, too.
Great. All right, and John, you said tomorrow night? Okay, great. All right, any new items people have?
I just wanted to ask, I know there's a lot of uncertainty coming down on the federal side with not MOUs, with the executive orders and all that. Like today, there was an announcement that they're cutting a bunch of Department of Education people. And I believe that DESE or somebody is putting out some kind of alerts as these things happen. Like, are we getting some kind of updates from the state to the town saying, hey, you know, this federal impacting is going to impact this budget line item? Or if there's anything like that out there, maybe talk to Andy, the legal staff for those at home.
So there's a couple different, there's a couple of different avenues. I don't know, I just felt I should ask permission to speak. So we do get legal alerts from the different law firms. So anytime there's some type of a, like a policy or procedure implications, both Andy's office and Tom Nuttall, who's our special ed attorney, their office will send like little updates.
All right.
We do also get information from the Attorney General's Office of Mass. You know, they've been up on top of things. They'll issue guidance. We look to that as kind of like the direction to follow. DESE from sometimes will actually send out specific guidance, and then different associations we're all tied into, like the Superintendent's Association will send out things. I'm on the legislative committee with that organization, so I'll get alerts about like legislative things that are happening. It's honestly been so fast and furious, the way stuff's been coming, that everyone has basically been just saying kind of, you know, don't change your practice. Stay the steady. If something actually happens and is going to change, it'll take a little bit of time for that to happen. We should be able to get notice, and then we'll be able to react to it. But we do get a lot of information. It's just trying to fish through and see like what's real and not. But I think we've got things pretty well covered.
Yeah, and I think we're asking more is probably to filter the stuff that's most pertinent at a school committee level, right? I think, and also parents probably going to want to know if there's going to be changes, and I think they're just going to be out there. So if there's nothing comes up, you know, maybe there's nothing to report, but maybe going forward.
Yeah, if there was anything that was actually going to really have like a direct impact on Chelmsford
Yeah,
and something we're doing, because Joanna is looking at the report around like federal funding and what we currently spend our money on, just so that we have that. But there haven't been any indications as of yet that anything is going to change with that. I was talking to Diana a little bit before the meeting, but, you know, there is some talk even with if, you know, the Department of Education at the federal level were to dissolve or not be there, it doesn't seem at this point like it's just going to go away. There were different pieces of the department that would ultimately get merged with other departments. Funding and things would still just flow directly to the state as opposed to kind of bypassing at the federal level. But things are so far up in the air that it hasn't had any actual implication for us yet.
Yep.
We're just kind of continuing to monitor. And I certainly would put it on the agenda if we got anything that was going to like timely affect Chelmsford.
So Joanna's putting together a report. Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, we'd said we would do like the third quarter projection, that we'll just call out for you, because we have it in the budget document, like the federal grant things.
Yes.
But we'll actually just list all the federal funding sources for you, just so that you can see what we get, kind of what's tied to it, how we use it.
It's not small. It has an
No.
impact.
Oh, it's millions. You know, one of the big ones, obviously, like your Title I, but also your IDEA, the special ed grant,
Yeah.
is very large, and that funds a lot of things for us, so that's significant.
Yeah. And we've
Just so we
changed
can
as
keep
a
ahead of it
district.
in case something suddenly gets
Right.
taken away.
Right.
Some of us have gone through this, you know, kind of work before with the administration. So like, it just more preparation we can do, the better we'll do for our constituents and for the students. So thank you. That's all I wanted to ask.
Right. Anyone else have any new items?
I would just love to hear an update on the search for the project manager for the Parker project.
Yeah, the OPM for the Parker project. So we actually, we did issue the RFP. We received 12 responses, which is great, from interested firms to be considered to be the project manager. The group who's doing the evaluations and ultimately will do the interviews and make the recommendation met yesterday, and we shortlisted 4 firms to come in for interviews next Wednesday, the 19th. So we will interview the 4 firms next Wednesday, probably take a day or two to do our notes and things like that. We'll reconvene, and ultimately, we'll convene the larger building committee the first or second week in April and make a recommendation to that committee about which firm we recommend to be the OPM. And then we have to put all of our paperwork together, and we do a submission to the MSBA because we're on the May 12th MSBA board meeting. I'm sorry, there's a specialized OPM meeting that we get approval to basically contract with that OPM. So if everything goes well, May 12th, we'll actually have an OPM kind of signed and under contract with us. And then we'll kick into the next phase, which is the designer. So then we have to go through the whole procurement process to get a designer on board, the architect, who's going to actually help us with all the plan design and schematic design, help facilitate all the different community visioning sessions and public input and things like that, which will start in the fall. So we're really hoping between May and August, we get the designer on board. Those are the 2 key people. And then we'll get going for September.
This is great.
So getting 12 applications was excellent. So I'm happy we actually put the RFP out. Even though we get bumped a little bit meeting-wise, we still put our RFP out at the time the other 2 districts did. We didn't wait. So I think we're kind of getting our first crack at the candidates, which is great. Great.
And we got an email from Paul Cohen about the strategic plan and just a summary of it, I believe.
Well, it was the proposed plan that is going to be presented to the select board, but it's to get feedback from the community, if anyone has any feedback, before we finalize it.
Yep.
Yeah, but that plan, as he put out, is what we,
And the building
expect it
is
to
on
be.
it. The building is
building
on it.
is part of it.
Which is
And the
great.
clause about the select board and the school committee meeting twice a year, just to show that we're collaborating.
I saw that. All right, anything else new? Okay, I just have one thing. I had a request just to announce that Chelmsford Democratic Town Committee is having a candidates debate night on Wednesday, March 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the police training room. And the public is invited to come, and I'm sure it'll also be televised, so if anyone wants to know about the planning board race and select board race, the school committee race, all those candidates will be at that event, so. All right, we have no further public comment, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
I have to.